They said don't fight the system. They said stay quiet.
They were wrong. Lock in. We are exposing what so many have failed to. We are gonna show you what bar attorneys have hidden from all of us. Hundreds of thousands of children and twice that of parents have been lied to and walked down the road of termination. It's the death penalty. We're all of the protesters, the ones who fight for the rights of prisoners, dogs, illegal immigrants. Why aren't you coming to the aid of our children and families? Right here in America, every day a child per minute is kidnapped. And no one cares. We fight alone until today. CPS punishers mount up. Here comes the CPS Punisher.
Anonymous tip, another lie from one of them. No warrant, no proof, just a badge and a grin. Stealing kids like trophies, thinking they'll win. Mama crying on the porch, daddy in the cage. System wrote the script, but the CPS Punisher just flipped the page. The educator they banned, I see every violation, every forged line, every ex-part hearing, every stolen time. One tap of the app and the truth ignites. Welcome to the CPS Punisher, now we can fight.
CPS and the courts have lied to us all.
The courts will not disgrace the family. CPS Punisher, here to avoid the chains and expose the game. CPS Punisher, the educator they never wanted you to find. Punisher, one tap and their empire cracks. We realize we take our kids back. The app is called the CPS Punisher.
I'm the cape in the shadows, the skull in the night, the binder full of secrets and weapons you all need. Ab initio, watch me void that lie. Fourth Amendment armor, watch the tyrants cry. Falsified drug test gone in a flash. I see Tebio, warrior, due process king. Every parent's hero when the hotline rings. I call it justice. Download the truth, now the system busts us. From the courtroom to the streets, hear the battle cry. The CPS Punishers arrive. Kiss your bar asses goodbye. They tried to silence us, now we're the loudest voice in the room.
CPS Punisher, here to avoid the chains and expose the game. CPS Punisher, the educator they never wanted you to find. Punisher,
The children never leave again.
Punisher,
Families rise, we never look back.
we now use the CPS Punisher.
This ain't revenge, this is reunification. This ain't rage, this is resurrection. Open the app, step into the fight. You ready?
CPS Punisher, the app you need when they took your kid. CPS Punisher, the truth they hid, now the truth gets lit. Punisher, download the power, take back the throne. Punisher, you're never alone.
CPS Punisher, the educator they never wanted you to find. Void complete, family restored. The bar is finished, the Constitution will prevail. Judges do what's right. Treason is your penalty.
We know it's all about the money, we know they lie, we know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?
Tiff and the Punisher, they won't back down. Fight for the children in every town. They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say. For those who have been isolated, don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, god damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop it.
Boom. What's up, Tiff?
Oh, it's going, I guess.
Oh boy, I know.
This is just my happy place right now, so.
That's right. And we're all here for you. Your whole family's right here for you. So everybody, if you could just pray for Tiff, that would be great. Her family could definitely use that. So everybody out there, if you guys could do that, that would be huge. Because they really need it. So if you guys could do that, that would be great. Lots of them. But well, getting back to the happy place part of things, we have some pretty cool people with us tonight. Good friends of ours, people that are actually doing stuff. You know, they don't just sit there and whine and complain. They actually do things. I know you know the family, the family fraud. Geez, I'm all choked up. The family fraud, the family court fraud warrior project, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Dave's here with us,
Oh,
and
that's
he's
great.
awesome. Yeah, it's great, right?
Yeah.
Um, they got a lot of good things going on. I mean, they're helping people by the droves. Um, like he had his testimony thing that he did, but then now they're on to, advocate promotion. They're on to making these complaints to the bar, to the, making judicial complaints. They're doing all kinds of things. And that's the thing. Like his group is actually, they're not just sitting around and bitching and whining and listening to stories. They're actually out there and they're getting things done and they're defending people and they're getting results done. People are scared of them. They got this cool idea about the biker thing that we're going to discuss tonight. I mean, they've just got it. They got it together. I know that they say all the time when they come on here that we got it together, but they got it together. So let's pull Dave out here and then he can introduce you. How about that?
All right.
All right.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, whoop.
Yeah, I really got it together as I turned my phone around, and you've got AI theme songs and and Tiff's. I think I want to marry Tiff's over there. I think I'm in love.
And so many are, Dave. So many are.
I bet. But thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Man?
You guys.
Yeah, we love having you. You're like our favorite guest.
And we talked early, man. I remember the first time you had me on, and you really inspired me, man, because you're like,
I was blowing his phone up.
He said that we got this guy Dave Weigel, and he's like, I think he's like a force, right? And I was like, oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, you really inspired me, man. You do this stuff and you don't know who's listening and you don't know what message is getting through. You don't know.
We
didn't have any successes at that point. It was all theory. And you guys were one of the first people that, weren't like, oh, wait, you're not totally CPS. Well, I don't want to have anything to do with you. You know what I mean? You're like, all right. So you have a different thing. All right. Well, we both agreed. Yeah, it's the same beast.
Right.
Yeah. That was easy to agree on.
Right.
I want to,
at the end of the day, the family is just being crushed, regardless whether it's in the courts, whether it's by CPS. Like the whole bottom line is the courts are screwing the family. Like that's it. That's the bottom line.
Family terrorism for profit, baby. Family terrorism for profit.
Yeah, I love that. And then, well, man, I had an interview with Michael Volpe the other day, and he had said to me, what did he call them? Grooming. What was it? I'll remember what it was, but it was a really cool term that he came up with. Damn it, this brain of mine getting old. Anyway, Dave, you got some people here with you, bud. Who do you got with you? You want to bring them out?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Don Finelli.
Don.
We've got Justin Nicely from my group, who heads up our CPS Victim Warriors division. And Don is our liaison to the biker community. And,
I don't know where he went, but we'll get him when he comes back.
He'll make it back, I'm sure, right here.
Right. He probably couldn't hear everything over the motorcycle rumbles. Probably.
Yeah.
That could be what it is.
Yeah. Every time I worry about saying too much, I watch Don and I'm like, oh, I'm okay.
Yeah, right.
I'm okay.
If they can say that, then I can say anything. Absolutely, right.
He's still breathing. I'm all right for another week.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's not that you don't go without putting your ass out there, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's a dangerous spot to be where you play sometimes. I mean, it is for all of us, but you're not sugarcoating anything. You and Tiff are like one and the same in that. And you're a little bit more on the, hey, here's my ass and ha, screw you. Look at what I'm going to do. You can't do anything about it. So there's no doubt about that, man.
No, thank you. I hope what I'm trying to do is hit them someplace they haven't been hit before. This selflessness thing that we got going on, which is the glue of our organization. I mean, it's just so counter to how humans are wired. I mean, we're all out there looking out for ourselves all the time. you know. And I said in my last piece, you know, this is like narcissism gone wild, like capitalism gone demonic. You know, I know I'm supposed to be this greedy Wall Street guy, but like, you know, I saw success early and I saw what money does to people. And these are not the happiest people in the world, right? You know, these people in these big, huge houses, I know them, okay? They're not the happiest people in the world, right? And you get there and you get a piece of it and you're like, all right, well, what the hell's next, you know? And then you have your kids stolen, then you have nothing, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't even a question, you know? All my lovely fans out there have been calling regulators and trying to do anything to get me, you know, to lose, just to hurt me, you know, just to hurt this project, you know. You know, and
that's why, dude. That's why, Dave, we did that investigation on you. That wasn't asked for, you know, because there's people out there that be like, "Oh, Dave asked him to do that." Dave had no idea that we were going to even do that to him. Dave had not a clue. That was just out of the blue. We whacked him because you know what, man. It's not fair the way that these people, that their mouths are full of lies, hate, discontent, and just want to get their own, you know, likes on their page or whatever. They're not really about advocating. And for them to come out and start thrashing on you was just uncalled for, man. And, you know, like that was kind of like man down. And it was like, look, we got to go do something because we, you know, how me and Tiff stick, we like roll, like we stay in our lane, you know, like, I mean, we love having guests and everything, but we do our thing. To have them doing that stuff to you, we decided, you know, nope, this isn't going to go down like this because we're not going to watch this. We're not going to watch this happen. And you know what? I did as much investigating that even the FBI or CIA would have done on this guy, and I couldn't find a damn thing. Even the AI said that this is foolish. This guy is like so clean, it's kind of gross. You know,
did AI come back and say he's kind of an asshole? But
he definitely said that. Yeah, it said that about every other word. But you know, but as far as the being clean and not you know, you're not a fraudster, man. You're not a shankster. You're not any of that stuff, man. You are a straight up legit dude that is just coming. Like you don't need to be here. You're good, man. You got your kids back, you know, like and it was a different situation. You were getting bombarded by the family court system, but you're done, man. You don't have to do this. You don't have to take this shit from these wannabe pseudo celebrities. You don't have to do any of this. You don't have to take your Tuesday night to be on here with me and Tiff and get harassed by us. You know, like you don't need to do it, but you do. And you're like very vigilant about it. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm going to show up here and there. Like anybody that knows you knows, like you better be at the goddamn meeting, otherwise that's it. We're going to thin the list out and screw you. You're done. You know, like you don't fuck around, man. Like that's it. It's very serious what you're doing, and you don't have to do this. That's the cool thing. Like you got no skin in this game right now, but you're all in. You know, like you're all in.
The one thing that I like the most about you, and honestly, that's why I was blowing your fucking phone up, and I'm like, Darren, I'm trying to get him on. The one thing that I like the most about you, and Darren's right, because we are a lot alike in the aggressiveness, right? And that's one of the things that I love about you. I'm like, oh no, this is my dude right here. We are gonna and like if you don't have the balls and the backbone to do this, you should not be advocating. You should not be out here telling people, I promise, I guarantee, I'm going to do this. Don't worry about it. No, that's bullshit. And one of the things I like about you is you don't promise anybody shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, you know what?
You got results, man. You have the information to back it up. It's not like you're just shooting it out of the hip and hoping that it lands and sticks. You're like, look, we got this machine that we're crunching numbers. You're very transparent about what you're doing. You know, if you guys want to argue against this, and that's why I just don't understand why these people, they would come at you and come at your projects. And I know that we're getting ready to be under fire because we're just developed the CPS Punisher app. And, you know, like that's, everybody's like, oh, Darren, that's yours. No, it's not my app. This is for everybody. Everybody that's on my team has contributed in one way or the other, whether they did know it or they didn't. And this is for everybody. This is for everybody so that, you know, you couldn't afford that fancy lawyer at family court, at CPS court, or any of that shit. Well, guess what? We've now made it affordable for you, even though for educational purposes only. But this thing will beat Westlaw. This will be it. And that's because the people needed something. So this is our app. This isn't my app. It's not Tiff's app. It's not, you know, it's not yours. It's not, this is for everybody. This is for everybody that needs it, wants it. You know, like this is their thing. And that's what we do. And the likeliness of what your organization does and what we do here is we're not worried about our likes and shares and all of that. The only reason we are doing it is because we're not reaching enough people if we don't get them. We're not looking for a diamond or a prize where all these other groups are like, well, let's go do this. And do I look good in the camera? You know, like, look at me. I'm a fat dude with some overalls on and some tattoos. And that's it, man. This is as real as it gets. You know, like this is what my wardrobe consists of. You know, same as you, same as Tiff. You know, same as your dude here. I guarantee this is it. We're the real people. We're not the, you know. I don't want to get into that stuff because it's supposed to be a good thing, but you know, like that's the thing. And the realism here is as good as much as you're going to get it. And I wish Dawn was here, but yeah, you know, like, and to beat this thing, I mean, here's the problem. How do you beat something that doesn't? There's nothing to beat. You're fighting an enemy that doesn't exist.
Right.
You know, like they come up with their own strategies. You go to court against them. Well, here, we're going to hit you in your pocketbook. Well, this wasn't even about my pocketbook today. This was about visiting my son, but somehow I got $1 million fine from this shit, or you ended up in Rikers Island. You know, like all of this stuff. Like, where did this even come in? There's no playbook right now. Like, we're developing this playbook by holding them accountable for what they're doing wrong. And we're able to do it now through the things that we have all put together. You know, we're not sitting here crying and complaining. We're doing. You know, we're taking the tools that we have and we're doing it. And, you know,
and that's what I love about you guys, right? I mean, if you sit there and take a look at you, Darren, all right, your immediate first response is, oh, that's an app developer, right? Yeah, you look at Tiff, okay, you know, and say, oh, that's a woman that stood up for hundreds of people. You know what I mean? It's just, I love people that, you know, are not what their first impression is, right? And I think a lot of people that are pushing back so much are first impression people. You know, I mean, it's just so easy. And I'd like to, you know, be magnanimous for a second and just say, I really do believe a lot of it is really trauma based. I mean, when you have your kids stolen from you, man, that is a dignity raping. All right. And I'm not going to mince words on it because it's what it is, right? It's what it is. And it signals a distress level. So, you know, if you've got some of these other people out there that are really trying, they're putting themselves out there to try and get a following or whatever, and maybe they just haven't gotten it off the ground, or they're just doing it a little wrong, or just are a little too much in their trauma, and they, you know, and they see somebody else getting where they want to be, right? It's just you know, it's this spotlight, like you're not good enough again, right? This systematic psychological abuse that they put people through is by design. And it is this shaming thing that just, you know, it's about telling you you're less than a human. Your child, you know, this thing that God gave you, you know, we're stepping in the way and we're taking that away from you. And who the F are you to step in the way of that? Right? Look, okay. You know, some of the things that we're up against here is there are some people out there that unfortunately are dangerous to their kids, you know, are extremely irresponsible with drugs and stuff, you know. Hey, Don is back here, buddy.
Don's in the house, yes.
It was the hearing aids.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to have you here, buddy. Yeah, so I was just finishing up here. What I love about you guys is that, you know, you're the same way. You know, you saw too much. You know, I could just leave. I don't know. Like, if you're around here and you've seen this, right? Well, am I supposed to just go on my merry way and know what I know? Like, I know there are kids in horrible situations. One of the things, just to tell you, that really got me when I was alienated for 5 years is I just had this vision in my mind of my son looking up at the ceiling of the wall and just like, where is my dad? Where's my dad? Where's my dad? And I couldn't do anything. And it's so emasculating, right? And women and moms feel that, you know, like a mama bear, you know, and that's what I do. I take care of my kids, you know, and the level of frustration they put you through and stuff. So, you know, we're going to just take the high road here, and we're not going to come and get, you know, involved in everybody's drama out there. We're going to keep showing successes. We're going to keep doing for people. We're going to keep trying to dissect and say, how do we make this work for everybody? You know, how can we model this thing out so that, you know, this, you know, like what we're talking about tonight with this biker, you know, thing, you know, I mean, we got people coming in here and being like, can you do for me what you're doing for Bryce? Like, obviously not for 14,000 people, but understand what we're doing here is that by sitting here and calling these people out the way we're doing it in a humiliating way. We're selling these hats now. I love them. I live in it. Okay. FBI, Fear Ridden Bitches Incorporated, right? All right, I wore that on Wall Street today. I walked
awesome.
up and down Wall Street with it. I was like, you had to see the looks that I was getting. And you know what? I'm being called to account. Like, is that professional behavior? Well, I mean, is that what it's deserved here? I mean, does a child, just because a child trafficker wears a suit, I'm supposed to treat this person with respect and be polite about it? I think we need you guys speak the truth. You guys don't mince words on it. Justin over here, when I first saw this guy and how many hands he had. I mean, this mother tucker owns Canton. He there's legislators in Canton that have nightmares over this guy. They literally have nightmares over him, right? And he's just in their face. Again, you look at him in the first second, you're not going to say this guy knows every law and every CPS rule and every way to go. You're not going to see that. You're not going to jump to that conclusion, right? For any of it. But this is the power of who we are. We're like this band of next door heroes that are just normal people that just we can't sit back and just do nothing here. We can't sit back and do nothing. And I'm just trying to do my part with hopefully add, something different, to try to create a machine that actually works here. Because if it's the one thing that is the most frustrating and the most disastrous thing, we have this one woman on our board, Barbara Foreman. She's been in front of Congress since the 70s talking about this stuff. Since the 70s. And when she joined us, she said, you know what, I'm pretty much retired here now, but I want to join you guys because for the first time, I'm really excited. I just want to see something work before I pass. I want to see something work. I want to see them pay. I want to see something done, and I don't, Don, that is him too. This guy's been in the trenches fighting every which way, loud, quiet, up, down, left, right, hitting from every side of the equation. And he's been a one-man band, and fighting the machine one man, and that's got to change here now because we do have the ability to come together like we're doing here. And hopefully this Advocate All-Stars campaign that we've got is going to be a little bit of lubricant to maybe help that happen. So
what is that? What is your Advocate All-Star campaign? What is this, Dave?
So this Advocate All-Star campaign is the same 3 to 5 minute video campaign. This is how you introduce yourself to the group, right? Everybody comes in. I don't know where to start. What are the steps? Where to go? And I understand there's a lot of things going on in the site. Okay. We understand people don't like to really do a lot of, people don't go to Facebook to research. They go to YouTube to research. They don't go to Facebook. Right. But we needed Facebook to connect everybody first. Right. And it is what it is. But the 3 to 5 minute video is to, introduce yourself to the group and let people look in your eyes. And I was just saying before on another live, but people don't realize we communicate 700 ways besides words. Right now, there is a tweak in Tiff's eye, right, that my subconscious has registered that tells me something, right, that you almost can't even verbalize or whatever. But it's just old school technology over thousands of years. You get a gut feeling, right? You don't ignore that gut feeling, right? That gut feeling tells you something purposeful, there. And that's the initial thing there. And we just want to expand it out and for a different purpose here now. It's like, all right, we're out here now and we're advertising our successes. Why? Why? Because we want to inspire people to say, okay, I've been lost in nihilism, right? I'm just, I'm angry at everything. I'm negative about everything. We want to help these people see a light at the end of the tunnel here, So we want to use this, this Advocate All-Stars as a means to, say, hey, we're all doing this together here. Keep doing what you're doing, right? But just know you got a home here too, right? Because this is all one big. I mean, we're all different nodes, right, of this big machine here, right? But this whole idea that I got to be competitive with Tiff and Punt, this is the stupidest thing in the world,
right?
Right? It's just it's the same enemy here, and that's also a smell test, right? It's like if you're really an advocate and you're really here to make change and you're really here for the greater good, the selflessness is just going to be natural. You're going to see that happen. And if you're here for the wrong reasons, you know, you may fool people for a while, but eventually, you know, people are going to do the math, you know, and they're going to see, this helplessness. But yeah, so that's our you know, our advocate all stars. We're kicking it off tonight, and we'd like to invite, okay, all of our members here to be our very first, okay, highlights, right? We'd like to ask you guys to do a little 5-minute, because Darren, I don't know that story of yours. I don't know what initially drove you to do this. I don't know Tiff's. I don't know Don's, and I don't know Justin's, right? And a lot of people, who's that gorgeous little baby?
My number one fan.
Number one
Darren.
fan.
Yeah,
It
this is
is.
Darren's number one fan.
Yep. Baby Shark, buddy. Baby Shark. You can't hear me though.
Say bye.
Bye, buddy. Be good for mom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't hear me. I forget about that.
Yeah. And then to tie this back into, you know, why Don is here is, you know, this biker campaign. I want people to really understand what it's all about, right? It is this idea of, look, we got to use the media. We say in our group all the time, we use the law for defense only. All right. Why? It's not just a gimmick. Okay. It's because that's what we've seen. I've done the research. I've dug into this stuff, right? I've compiled the numbers, and we have seen people be able to keep themselves out of jail. We have been able to see people, you know, avoid the worst here or there. Right. But have you ever gotten a judge to pay the price? Okay. Have you gotten an attorney to pay the price? Have you been able to reverse an order? Have you seen, you know, an offensive win through focusing on what we say, their playing field, their game pieces? And by the way, if you're beating them, they just move the goal line, right? You know, yeah. Right. We said today, the only person in court that doesn't know it's theater is you. Right. Everybody else knows this is all a big dog and pony show meant to look like it's legit. And they do a great job. They do a great job of people convinced that, no, I got one more legal thing to try here, and it's going to work this time. It's like, when in life would you sit there and do something the same way 40 times in a row and say, oh, I'm going to do it a 41st time? You're gonna say this is I gotta completely look at this a different way. Yet the mind, the brainwashing that we have, you know, the conditioning that we have tells us that a lot of people don't realize, like, the media isn't a choice. The media is an option. You know, a lot of people have gone to the media, right, and nothing. Right, Don. Over the years, how many times have you tried to bring your cases to the media, to journalists? What's your history?
Oh my Lord, Dave! First off, because of the interference, I'm barely hearing you on the phone. Let me check out and check back in, see if the volume comes back. You asked me a question about my cases. Which ones? I got so many of them. It's unreal. I don't even know which name to use anymore. You got to remember, I got 3 last names before I reached the age of 12.
Oh, okay.
Let me check in and out of here so I know what you're asking.
Okay. So let me ask Justin, how many times have you tried to go to a journalist or go to the media over the years to try and get coverage on this?
With that being said, we all have, anybody that's been 10 toes deep in this game that has been advocating long enough will know that media is also unfortunately complicit in all of this. They won't report the fraud and the corruption at the levels of what it's actually pertaining with, especially when it comes to the family courts and CPS. I mean, these people will commit, you know, unfortunate career suicide by doing such. And it's the same with the lawyers. It's the same with the judges. And that's the issue. I mean, this has been systematically designed and set up this way to rip the family element apart, to take away our children without any due process and just off of an allegation and a phone call and a biased, overzealous caseworker. And the family courts, the first question that they'll ask any of you out there when you first go, your first day is, what are your assets? How much do you have in the bank? Do you have a savings account? Do you have any other, you know, do you own a home? And do you own a vehicle? And the reason they're asking you all of this, people, is because they plan on taking every single bit of it. They plan on taking every single bit of it. I mean, This has all been set into motion. I mean, between you got the National Child Protection Act of 1993, we all know about the Adoption Safe Family Act of 1997 with ASFA. We got the Foster Care Independent Act, where they sit there and commercialize the foster care system and incentivize it to where these children are now being thrown all over the country into foster mills. And it's more about quantity than it is quality. So they could give a rat's about the children's well-being and care, just as long as they're meeting that per capita to get those federal and state funding and grants. And then to make sure that we got to hide all the evidence of all of this, and we got to make sure to control the data and statistics. They had to come out with the Children's Health Act of 2000. And the coalition of all of it, it's a systematic nightmare to sit there and legitimately think that if you are going to go to this system and file and your motions and make a new act and go to the abusers and try to sit there and think you're going to get justice, that's like a DV victim going back to their abuser and expecting a difference in the change of behavior, and that just as long as they comply they'll be okay. No, they're going to abuse you regardless. So the goal and the prerogative is that Dave has laid down a foundation based and principle of that I personally have used, that I'm a walking success story of, because of, is the power of truth, transparency, accountability, exposure, and learning how to protect yourself and your family. And with that being said, we use the power of the masses. The power of the masses. They can ignore one, they can ignore 10, they can't ignore thousands upon thousands all across the nation saying the same thing. So that's where the Advocacy All-Star program comes into play that we're kicking off in our campaign. We're looking for those that are out here 10 toes deep on the front lines. Selflessness is the main key aspect in all of this, because anyone that is sitting there thinking me, mine, I, and their vocabulary and all of this, you're not going to get far, because that finish line is one hell of a brick wall barrier you're going to have to break down, and you're not going to be able to run through it by your damn self. You're going to need an army. So with that being said, we're looking for them.
Yeah, because it's a great point. It's like, why though? Why? It's because you're just dipping over that line to their side, right? Their side is the epitome of selfishness, right? How do these people justify what they do? And they do. They justify it. They sit there that night, they look themselves, they said, these kids are better off in foster. How could they possibly be looking at reality and say these kids are better off in foster? What numbers, what data, what information are they looking to say these kids are better off in foster care? But that's what the human mind does. And that's why I did what I did here, is because I studied from Wall Street from a very early age. What money and financial incentive makes people believe, right? What does it change them to actually believe their justification? What are the triggers? What are the patterns? What are the building blocks of why this stuff, it happens? Like, how can it happen? How can these people just be able to live with themselves? And they have justified the hell out of it. They have justified it to the ends of the earth. Right?
Can you imagine, how do you get up? How do you get up in the morning, go have coffee with your wife or husband, and then go and just ruin someone's family? Kiss your kids goodbye, and then just go out and this is your day now, is just to go and destroy someone's family.
Yeah.
How does that even? How could you even go and apply for a job with such? This is what I'm going to go do. I mean, it's not like it's a funeral undertaker is like an essential position, because nobody wants to deal with a dead body. But this is someone that's like, you just chose to have your family and everything that you wanted and everything. You're making money from the fact that these families are being broken apart, and your bonuses are coming from this and everything. And you're okay with this. This is how you make your money. When you have Christmas, you're sitting there like, oh, I've got to ramp up my hours because I got to buy my kid this from Santa Claus, or whatever. And that job just comes solely on destroying a family. Don't get me wrong. There's probably 2% that are great, and they are trying to save the world. The rest of them, they've got to know something. They've got to know what they're doing is bad news. I mean, and where's groups like us now? We're loud enough to show them that you guys are doing this wrong. So maybe pay attention. You've been warned, things like that. And they're not changing it. I mean, you can't tell me that they don't know that they're screwing families over.
Yeah, they know, and that's why we're doing this Wall of Shame and Wall of Fame campaign here, and this is the end throughput of everything, every one of our steps, right? You come in, you sign up with your own name, you put your case number in. Why? We got to vet truth. We're collecting data. Data is only data if it's true. You start off with a 3 to 5 minute video. We contact you, do an exit interview to get to know a little bit more. Now we know which bucket to put you in. Right. And then we start going through, you do the polling questions here. We get more data that way, right? For the whole group and for you personally. Right. And then, you're sending in all your documents to help@fraudwarrior.org because then all the numbers and the patterns are going to be revealed there too. But we've said over and over and over, because people come, and I know they call you Don, I know they call you Darren and everybody. Right. And, the number one thing is, Dave, you don't know what evidence I've got. No. You don't understand. This has nothing to do with evidence. All right. The evidence hasn't mattered in decades. It's always who's listening to this evidence, who's listening that can do something about it. Right. And why? Why are they going to do it? Who's going to step in front of this freight train? It's got to be people coming from the outside that have no business being here, right? What's this biker from upstate New York doing, standing up for all these kids in foster care? What's this guy, from Ohio over here, understanding these laws better than any lawyer in the state? What's this guy from Wall Street? What is he still doing here? He got his kid back, right? What is this guy Darren doing, creating an app to help people, right? Because that story does what we need it to do, is grab these eyeballs to say, well, what the hell's going on here? Right. And we need this. Like, if there's one thing Americans do better than any human on the planet, we know Hollywood. We know how to make a story. We know how to tell a story. We know how to perform. I was just reading one of the comments before, some guy was talking about, they say with public speaking, it's only 7% about what words you're actually saying. It's your body language. It's your tone. It's your delivery. And unfortunately, that is true. That's why the great salesmen of the world are not, the most ethical people in the world, because they understand that to a T. And that's just what works human wise. Right. And that's a sad state. So, but nowadays, right, in today's day of, like, the internet is permanent record, right? It's going to be around when we're all like 6 feet under for many, 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 many years. So this has never happened before. Who knows the magnitude of that? Nobody can get there. Like, what are these, these OnlyFans women? These OnlyFans women are making $7 million a month, right? Because they're hot and they're willing to do something, right? These are things that have never been before, right? So a lot of what we're trying to do here is an experiment, right? It's an experiment of, but if we can tell the story the right way. And that's the big thing here, is like, people will come in, they'll take a couple of pieces, we see a bunch of other groups now doing 3 to 5 minute videos. There's a lot more to it, right? There's a lot more, right? There's each piece has to be put together in the right, proper way, the timing of it, the messaging, how you're reacting to things. Okay. And there's no playbook. There's no, hey, here's how you do it. This is what we figured out over 20 years. So, we're figuring it out as we go too. So, it's this thing, like you said, Darren, nobody understands the true magnitude of this beast that we're up against, right? We just know the results, and the results are not, it's one thing if it's 80-20, right? 20% here, 80, right? It's another thing when it's 0, right? It's another thing, right? It's another thing when it's when the numbers are 100% or 0%. That's when a dog becomes a cat. All right. That's when you're dealing with something completely different, and people are missing the plot here, right? And that's what we said today in our meeting. Like, the one big power, statement is, these people don't understand. The only person in court who doesn't know this is theater is you, right? And the question is, what are you going to do? Like, can you learn from others' mistakes, or are you going to be pigheaded and say, no, I know, and how much are you going to lose? in that time period. Don't lose what you see everybody else lose, you know, and be able to learn from other people's mistakes, you know.
There's always someone out there better than you. Hey, hey Dave, keep this going for 10 seconds. I got to go out and reset because these guys are waiting backstage and I can't get to them. So I'm going to run out and reset, come back too. If you don't mind keeping this talk alive here for just like 10, 15 seconds, I'll be right back.
Yeah. So Justin, you know, I mean, you've been working with us for, you know, a couple of months here now, and you've you know, escalated to, you know, a very, very important role, basically running, you know, the CPS Victim Warriors. But like, the reason we're doing this thing is I'm working with you how many hours a day, like at such an intimacy level. I don't know what drove you to this initially. I know you won your case. I know, you know, you were such a stand-up guy and, you know, won a false paternity, you know, case and stuff like that. But I still don't know what made you step up into this role, right? So, like, are you kind of excited? I mean, how many people, even in Canton, really, you probably told that story in the very beginning and haven't repeated it since, right?
When it comes to sit there and as far as the exposure aspect on my case personally, what it was the grassroots aspect of understanding and knowing that the fact of anybody can become a victim of this. It doesn't matter who. And that's my whole goal and prerogative is I'm going to kill these stigmas. All these stigmas, all these, you know, assumptions that, you know, are the viewpoint discrimination and bias currently in the mass populace that currently, unfortunately, is droned. We have a very droned mass populace that think that, oh, CPS doesn't get involved with your family unless you're a bad parent. No one's going to come and knock on your door unless you're doing something wrong. Oh, you won't get involved in the family courts and you don't have to worry about it. Well, let me tell you something. Do you have children? You're at risk. You have multiple children, you're at a higher risk. If you're impoverished, you're at risk. It doesn't matter the demographic in nature. And that's what I loved about what brought me to the Family Court for Our Warrior Project was the fact that I had already been advocating on my behalf locally with the Canton Hall of Shame for several years, exposing the corruption locally and what we were going on with, you know, our city and county, and to where they fell victim to one of the longest game audits they've ever had, and which they failed miserably. Our First Amendment's hanging by a thread, and that is, again, our foundation base of everything God given to you as soon as you take your first breath onto this world and planet. And if that's not available for our future generations and our children, what in the hell are they coming into? And that petrifies me as a father of 4 children. I got 2 beautiful boys, 2 beautiful girls, and the fact of the matter is that the demographic is that the way we win is that, first of all, this is going to take a united front amongst the masses, as I said prior. And besides just the selflessness aspect, it needs to be a grassroots campaign. When you come through that door and kick in that door with this threshold and coming in saying that you're ready to fight for these kids and these families and these children, you need to be 10 toes in and understand everything gets left at the door. Political affiliations, gender, race, creed, how many degrees you got hanging on the wall, how much money you have in the bank account, what God you pray to, all of that shit needs to be left at the door, pardon my language, because none of that is relevant when it comes to this fight. None of that is relevant when it comes to the fight for these children and families. And the fact that your campaign, especially, that I see many, many hundreds starting to pick up frontline warriors like Tiff and like everybody else that I'm seeing around here, and Darren and Dave and many others all throughout the nation, has started to light a spark and a fire across the nation to get people up and get people more proactive. So that's what brought me to the family.
But the only thing, my man, we got to preface out there, guys, is that we can't be doing 52 different things at the same time because it just doesn't coalesce. It's got to be a best ideas win. And again, this is selflessness, right? Somebody else wants to take it. I'm ready to hand the baton as soon as somebody is willing
Dave,
to put
I'd like to approach, if we could go back to using your name, because if you remember when we first met, that was one of the discussions we had. Yeah. People using pseudonyms as names or fake names or fake accounts. That's part of taking your power back. It's your name, use it.
It's your name,
Amen.
and you're standing up and saying, this happened to me, and I'm putting it on permanent public record. And you see little things. And how many times we have this conversation? Why can't I use a pseudonym? Oh, this is that. Oh, wait, but if I, people are following me, okay, and they're going to retaliate against me. Yeah, guess what? They're going to retaliate against you anyway.
Regardless.
They don't.
You might as well be somebody then, rather than nobody.
Here's the thing, people. When you're in a bully campaign and you are the target, you're their abuse toy, right? When does it ever make sense that they just let you go, right? For good behavior? No, they have this drug called power. They're getting a shot of adrenaline every time they hurt you, every time they control you. They have power over you. And then they don't want to get in trouble. So their model is to destroy everyone, right? Make them financially completely, insolvent, but completely mentally abused. Why? Okay, a business model. Now you're not strong enough to ever come back later and cause a problem to them. Okay, so no, I'm sorry, people who want to hear a softer, lighter way, right? Sometimes the only defense is the most aggressive offense. My name's Dave Weigel. I'm a victim of the Manhattan family courts. These people did this. These are the facts. This is what happened. Okay, and no, I'm not going to mince words about it. I'm going to say exactly what this is. And the most beautiful thing that I love, I wanted to ask Tiff about is, so many of their actions is to render you quiet, to shut you. What better way than to steal a mother's kids, right? The idea you're supposed to go out there again, like you said, Justin, what's the stigma, right? And we heard that scum lawyer in upstate New York say that. The one piece of evidence we have from her when she responded on a text, she said the golden phrase. She said, come on. You don't think that they take children from someone who just doesn't deserve it at all, do you? And it's like, that is the heartbeat and center of this scam. Because
please tell me you don't vote, lady.
Right. So I want to ask Tiff, how many times have you spoken to moms? And because what I can't fully put my finger on yet, right, is I know it's a measure to shut somebody up, but what is blowing my mind, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, is how many times have you heard a mother stand up and report abuse, right? And we know there are people lying about it, okay? But it is almost a lockstep thing. If you're a mother and you report abuse, they're taking your kids.
Yeah, and
how many times do you hear this?
A lot. And this is what I always say, right? Like they're afraid of. Right now, my mind is a little not right, but just like your guy in Ohio, right? Like he's got everybody scared. Well, this is what I tell people. The best way to beat a bully is to stand up to them, right? Because if you don't stand up to them, you're a doormat. And when women call me and say, I was trying to leave my abuser and they took my kids, and it instantly infuriates me, because why are we re-victimizing the victim?
Thank you.
Because what better way to destroy that victim? But why? But where's the money? Where's the money in that?
But listen, and then because she reported the abuse, they give the kids to the abuser.
Yep.
And that's the state. How do you turn around knowing that is the model, right? That's what's happening every single day in this country, multiple times. The entire time that we've been talking, that's happened. That's happened multiple times. But to bring it back to Don's world here in the
don't forget the flip side of this one and the false allegations that are made.
Oh yeah, because then it's there, and then there's some really crazy stuff. I mean, we do know that there are real sickos out there that will actually sexually abuse their own child, and even to the extent of their own baby, which I don't understand physically how that works, right? But the rate of accusation there is astronomical. Okay, it does not match that, right? So again, this is giving it to them, because how do they justify this thing? Okay, anytime a mother is coming in there claiming abuse, what they're thinking in their mind is, oh, This is one of these liars again. This is one of these ones that just wants the ends justify the means. I hate him so much that what are they going to do? They can't prove it. I'm just going to say it. And, and unfortunately, these are the people that, and that's what just bothers me so much, because now who really got hurt? The kid that really was abused, the mother that really is sticking up for their child, right? Who's hurting those people the most? Okay. No, it's not the system. It's the other 9 out of 10 that are lying about it. Right. And, and that's what we're standing up for too. On our wall of shame, we've got a silo of judges. We've got a silo of CPS workers. We got a silo of attorneys, and we have a silo of parental alienators. Because it takes 2 to tango here, and there's too many people out there looking at the family courts as a cash ticket, right? As a way to hurt somebody and a way to maybe not have to work the rest of your life. And we need to stand up and expose this bad behavior. We need to hold up the good behavior. We got the Wall of Fame, right? We got our judge on there. All right. I couldn't believe what I saw with this judge up in Hartford, this Judge Leo. I mean, not Judge Leo, this Judge Diana. I mean, the first 5 minutes, he was like, how's the child? Right? How's the child? That didn't come up in freaking 7 years of my case. How's the child? Never once. How's the child? How are the children doing? And it stayed on the child the entire time. And he gave both sides equal time. And he was empathetic on both sides. So the problem is these people don't have the power in the system. They're outnumbered. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to create a mechanism that empowers them. Let's hold up these good people. Let's make them known for what they're doing. All right. More people are going to want to join that club. Right? Everyone loves a winner. Right. Yeah. And at the same time, let's expose and humiliate the quintessential scum of the scum out there at the same time and manufacture. But I wanted to bring this back to Don. You talk about, what's been going on in CPS for decades. How many of these bikers that Don, are children of the system?
Well, you gotta take into effect, if we include the bikers, and I hate using the terminology gangs, but I'm going to use what the government likes using just for general purposes. Okay. Or I'm going to call them my friends, because a lot of them are in gangs, I guess you could say. But anyways, most of them are family court kids. The whole reason they join these units is for a sense of solidarity and protection from the system itself.
Right.
And the streets, and from their bullies. Right. They themselves did not start off this way. They were forced into a lifestyle that they should have never had to be forced into. Therefore, we should embrace these people, not push them away.
Right. And, and what kind of sense does this make, where here you have this group of people coming from the greatest schools, coming from the education, all the resources, and there is no code among them. There's no ethic. There's no common bond there. But wait a second. Hold on. Now we've got these people that have had the toughest upbringing, haven't had a single thing freaking go right, haven't had a resource available to them, right? And, maybe they've broken some laws, okay, over the years, but they all live by a code, man. All right? They don't F with kids, man. If they see that happen, right, they're the first ones to stand up. I saw there's one group out there, like Bikers Against Bullies, right? They'll just show up. All right. And they'll pull somebody away from a domestic violence situation. And that's just such balls, man. I could see some big tattooed, Harley guys just showing up, 7 of them. They're like, we're here to take the young lady, right? And see this little pansy ass. If you're a man and you could hit a woman, you are beneath low. You are you're the lowest piece of garbage on the planet. How you can close a fist and hit a frail woman's body. Okay. I know it's politically correct and men can have babies and women can bench press the same as men. If you punch, a woman, if you can close a fist and you can hit a woman, I mean, you're just beneath anything. Right. And you know what? I know that, why is it these people, I'm going to use your same term. Why is it these people in gangs, some of them breaking laws, right? Why do they live by a code and not these people that have all the reason to be living by a code, all the reason to be having this kind of moral center that they follow. I don't understand. I
Hey,
don't.
Dave. Hey, Dave, if I could elaborate real quick on that, maybe you can light some fires under some seats real quick, to call out to the biker community and those advocating in this fight. Here's some numbers for you. 16.4 million children currently right now are growing up in a single parent family home. Now, of that 16.4 million children, that's a big ass number, people, all throughout the nation of the United States. 16.4 million children are growing up in a single parent family home. 43% of those children that are currently right now, that 16.4 million, have not seen the other parent in 6+ months. It's a cause and effect aspect of that. Systematically, the system is designed to keep it in chaos, keep your family element torn up, and follow the money. If you want to talk about the money being distributed, 43 to 56% of the money being distributed with these agencies and the federal and state grants funding is for crisis management. They are meant to keep your family in a state of crisis because they get more money for it. How much do you think goes to reunification? Nowhere between 6 to 12% at max.
But I mean, like,
That number right there to scare you.
Not even worth mentioning, Justin.
yeah. But how many? And I've seen some other numbers here, and people should know the numbers in here. The numbers that we've seen and we agree with. The number of Americans affected by family court and CPS in this country is 22 million. 22 million. All right. That's moms, that's dads, that's grandma and grandpa. All right. That's kids. Right.
Now, is that per year? That per year number, Dave?
Per year.
That's
per year.
That's a per year number. All right. And no one could really get their head around the cumulative number. Right. Because it's like, when do they end? When do they leave that sphere? You know?
Right.
Well, the numbers that we came up with here, which no one wants to report, no one's giving real ones, is the number of suicides, all right, where they don't count the suicides the right way. There's death of despair, all right, overdoses, all right, car accidents, violent fights, all those things. It's like 750,000, 750,000, okay?
And on that one, Dave, I'm going to plug this one, the veteran suicide. The number one reason listed for veteran suicide is listed as various.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what that reason is.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know why veterans are such a great target? They have this very fat veteran pension, right? They got these great benefits there. What a wonderful thing to just suck onto and hold on to as an annuity payment from the government for life, And, that's why I'm trying to get people to think about this like a business model. You want to see which way a court is going to go? Ask one question at every juncture. What makes more money? What makes more money for the system? That's going to tell you where it's going. So now you know where it's going. Get ahead of it. Get ahead of it any way that you can. Throw something at them they've never seen before. They got a very simple playbook. They have no plan B, right? And if you throw something, a monkey wrench into their system that you catch them like that, like, you can actually, just out-bully them, right? You got to be the bigger bully here, like Tiff said, right? In any kind of bully situation. Have you ever known anyone to negotiate their way out of a bully? Right? Have you ever known anybody to nice guy their way out of a bully?
No.
Say appeal to your rational side? No, this is where you got to reach down and see if you've got a pair there, and that's men and women. Okay, some of our strongest warriors are in our group as women. Some of the baddest people that I mess with are women in our group. And and that's so when we say balls, all right, that's gender neutral. That is a gender neutral thing. But speaking of that, all right, people think, what we're doing here, calling out the FBI, humiliating them because we're trying, guys, we're trying to use the power of public shaming in a huge way to force the hand. You got to ask the question here. What is going to change this? Right now, the system is completely frozen. It is paralyzed, right? It's not the severity of the story. It's not the severity of the evidence. Okay, we're seeing a guy here in Texas. The numbers and the obviousness of the evidence is ridiculous. You would think these monkeys would say, maybe we should offer 30 million for a property that we're going to sell in 2 months for 100 million. No, there were small fries that only had like a line of credit from a local bank for 250,000. So yeah, let me go buy a place for 250,000 in a one bidder, and have the auctioneer go, starting the bidding at 250. Okay, we're going to go 250 and $1. So this guy's been texting me back and forth, right? And he tried telling me one of his lies was, no, there were multiple bidders. Really? So who bid 250,000? And when it went to 250 and 1,000, they said, that's too rich for my blood. Too rich for my blood. Wait, hold on. 252,000? Listen, I was in at 251,000, but as soon as they went to 250 and $2, that's when, that's too rich for my. So even the audacity of the absurdity is not enough. So what is it that you got to put yourself in the head of these FBI agents, of these U.S. Marshals, right? A lot of them are lawyers, right? The rule is we don't go against the machine, no matter what. The big boss says, don't touch this. Don't touch this. What is ever going to make them move, right? Well, picture it, right? All of a sudden, we find out who are the agents in charge of Lubbock, Texas. Who's the big boss in charge of Lubbock, Texas, right? And what can we do, right? If our options are live with this and see where this goes for 10 years, or God forbid the big V word, which a lot of people are talking about, which I don't want to even go near, but the viable option is public humiliation. Get out. This is your job, man. These kids are being brutalized. These families are being brutalized on your watch. You stood up for this job. You signed up for law enforcement, man. This is on your watch. There's blood on your hands, man. All right. And I think this is the most ethical and the most moral and the most feasible way to actually get this done. But we've got to smoke them out of their offices. How do we do that? How do we do that?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I'm going to tell you how you do it. My little mini me before the show, she has been going so verbal to all these town hall meetings. I kid you not. Everybody that was involved in her case has quit. Everybody.
Right.
She's calling them out. I know what she's going to say before she does it. She always calls me. And that's the thing I love about her, right? Because she knows, first of all, she knows I got her back, and anybody comes anywhere near her, I'm coming downtown, and it's not going to be a good thing. But she's calling them out by name, and she's bringing receipts. I love her for that. Go to town hall meetings and start telling people what's going on, because that's how a social services here in Virginia was shut down.
Right.
They started speaking out at town hall meetings. It caught the sheriff's attention, which got the investigator for the district attorney involved. They shut it down. 167 children were returned overnight.
Right. And it got no publicity, and it didn't change the overall system. So what we're saying is, do that. Right. We love when we see people stand up at these town hall meetings. Anybody can do it. Anybody can stand up there. I wonder how many people are doing it because, hey, it's an opportunity. Look how smart I look. Right. Look how official I look. Right. Is it really moving the needle? Right. Marry it with what we're doing. Right. Not only go there, have your friends record it, get it out so that not only just the people in the courts have heard this, but everybody has heard this. Everybody.
She's been in the local paper every time she has spoken out, and it's recorded.
Yeah. No, go the extra mile. Okay. Get that. All right. And that's what we're saying here now. Okay. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. We know somebody that, we stood up for in New Jersey that, she was complaining through her friends on Facebook, and she actually forgot to put quotation marks. She was repeating what the judge said. The judge said, if you don't do this, you're never going to see your kids again. And she said, the judge, and she didn't put the quotes. So it looked like she said to the judge, you're never going to see your kids again. I mean, you have to be ridiculous to do that, but they can harp on those nuances. That's what they're looking for, right? So we've gone through great lengths to establish our page as a public ledger. This is not a Facebook group. This is a public ledger. The only thing that belongs on here is what you would have in a case file of a Supreme Court case or a $20 billion class action, right? Use that as a filter. If it belongs in the case file, it belongs here. If it doesn't belong there, don't. Okay, that's why you need to be here in your own name. That's why you need to stay with facts. Some other people, because of their trauma, right? We're having to deal with another case here right now where it was just too easy, for her to just say, and the judge was paid off and the lawyers are paid off and this person. And okay, if you're saying that on a general basis, fine. But when you're calling out individuals and you don't have that evidence to know, you're giving it to them, right? There's a lot of ways to do this wrong. Right? So with this biker plea, okay, we're hoping the pieces really, really make sense here. Don had sent me a whole bunch of pieces over there. I've been watching them all over here where these biker clubs, they're getting into real businesses, right? They're opening up clubs, they're opening up bars, restaurants, even clothing shops and different things here. But I always thought, isn't the biker lifestyle to say F you to a 9 to 5? I have a little joke, I can imagine Mrs. Rosenberg saying, hello, Spike, my order came late. Okay. And some 6'7" guy is sitting there okay, Miss Rosenberg. Yeah, I'm very, very sorry. I think offering up $2 million, as a donation to these clubs, okay, so that, they could, be fortified for quite some time without having to maybe, go and get a 9 to 5, to pay. We all have to do that to some degree, So I'm hoping these synergies make a lot of sense. We're a selfless organization. They're a code-driven organization. We're standing up for defenseless people with less resources. They've been known to do that. Okay, come in there and stand up, to other bullies, right? We have seen this system and cannot walk away from it. They lived this system, all right, and it's driven them to where they're at. So it's these synergies that we're focusing on. And the big problem we have now is, how do we get to them? All right, they're not exactly in the yellow pages.
They're around the corner and down the block.
Over the field. Yeah,
they are. Getting a sit down when you look like me might take a little bit.
Well, you just got to learn patience, David.
Yeah.
That's just going to take a little bit of time. You got to understand these guys ain't used to operating in the light, and you kind of shedded a lot of light on it.
Yeah. But I've said too, looking at institutions, what American institution has a better reputation today than 30 years ago? I would say 2, the biker community and Harley Davidson, right?
Yep.
Everything else, every other institution, you don't trust. What we're dealing with.
So Harley took over the apple pie?
Yeah. What institution still has the same level of trust and brand in their brand today than 30 years ago?
That's fair.
That is a very true statement.
Yeah, it's a very fair statement.
But I would say what was let's just pick that Hell's Angels. Okay. Hell's Angels in the 1970s were considered what? Right now they're business owners. Now they're landowners. Now they run. They do security.
They were first veterans, David.
Yeah.
Amen.
But I'm saying the optics, right? What did you mentioned? If you mentioned the term Hell's Angels in 1979, right? It maybe didn't have the same immediate, assessment as what they are known for today. Their reputation has elevated over 30 years. I would say
it's almost impeccable when you look at their charity work.
Much respect to them. I'm sorry, but much respect to what they've been doing.
Regardless of whether or not they help us or not, they deserve the respect of knowing full well. I've seen these guys clean out Walmarts, buying bicycles for Christmas. Yep. And helping them put the bikes together, just so these kids that don't have families or they're in foster care or whatever their duress should be, the biker community definitely understands what's going on. It's just the whole coalition. I gotta believe now. Mind you, I'm not a 1%er here, so I'm not. I don't speak for any biker club. Period. I do understand that they formed a coalition. Now that works to our advantage. That means now they can all work together. That is a promising news all in itself.
Right. But when I was talking about these synergies, Don, what is this job? Right? We're not asking these gentlemen to go in there and do anything illegal. We're asking them for a stare down, right? These are small town criminals, okay, that are a little local band of criminals over there. So I said, if all of a sudden hundreds, even less, okay, all come in and escort this gentleman back to his land. You think these, what I understand of bullies is bullies are really cowards. People who steal, people who
David, FBI, Freedom Bikers International.
I like it.
Dave, one thing I have noticed is as far as with the biker community, I'll tell everybody that any child in danger or any kid that is in need of help, I can guarantee you they can run to the biggest, baddest, most catted ass biker that they see for help.
They're intimidating. They're fucking intimidating.
And that biker, as badass as they are, would be hands down ready to sit there and die and take a bullet for that child, no questions asked. The biker community is where it's at when it comes to stepping up for these children and these families. So
what are we talking about? Speak softly and carry a big stick. Well,
amen.
Their presence is the big stick. I think it's a perfect time for them to come out in the light. Okay, they come out in the light for their toy drives. They come into the light for their security work.
They're watching you right now, David.
This is security
Much
work.
love to them all, too.
But,
Much love to them all.
I don't believe that this is a dangerous thing for them because I think they're just going to piss their pants. I think if even 100 bikers escort Mr. Chapman back to his land, they're going to just sit there, turn off their machines, sit on their bikes, and look at these little boys and be like,
"Oh, we're talking about it. You're the voice on the streets. Trust me."
What you gonna do? And I got the answer. Nothing. They're gonna do nothing. They're gonna do absolutely nothing because they're cowards at heart, and people that take from other people are cowards. Okay.
Amen.
It's why didn't the mafia ever screw with kids, right? It just, again, we're going back to code here. But I hope that they do see that this is an opportunity. We need a different kind of hero to step up. Well, guys, we are close to a dystopian state.
I'll talk to them. I'll go talk to all the bikers. They don't intimidate me. I love everybody. That's real.
Amen.
Well, they intimidate me. I hope they don't piss my pants.
Well, you gotta remember, there's different categories of bikers.
I'll be your
You
bodyguard.
have MCs, you have RCs.
I'm gonna meet him for the first time. Be like, I got the 2 million. Don't hurt me. I got the 2 million.
There you go, Tiff.
What, on your Huffy or your moped?
On my Pook moped.
Hey, Dave, you'll come to find too that, believe it or not, a lot of these bikers, these MCs, these 1%ers, they would honestly look at that more as of a sign of disrespect. These guys are in it for 10 toes deep, and true warriors for the cause when it comes to these babies. These children, they will fight with tooth and nail for them. These bikers are where it's at, guys.
We're talking about the difficulty of just even having a conversation with them, right? Or sitting down, or maybe they're just a desire to. I don't see these guys as, hey, look at me, right? I don't see any of them doing TikTok dances, right?
No, God, no.
They're still digesting the 2 million.
They're not in it for the likes, so I can see them just being like, yo, man, we just don't do stuff like in the main national spotlight, but we need the national spotlight, right? I want to see the media try to ignore not reporting 2,000 bikers rolling into Lubbock, Texas for this guy to get back. Try to ignore, try not to report that, right? What can we do to force the hand of the FBI, humiliate them out of their office, to say, you know, this is blood on your hands. You're not doing your job. Make them say, I want to. My boss won't let me. Which boss? Which boss? It's time we all stand up. It's time we all talk. It's time we all
Call
talk.
them out.
We can't just be quiet about this anymore. Where are we going? A dystopian state is where everything is lies. Everything is nihilism. Everything is negative. Okay. You can't trust anything. Everyone's lying to you. You can't buy a hot dog on the street without it being a lie. Right. And then where are we? Right. Where are we in 20 years? Where are we in 30 years? Where are we? Look at the machine being created here. Look at the machine being created. I got news for you, all you lawyers that are raking all these millions. What you're going to be living in is Brazil. Okay. You can have 10 million, 20 billion. All right. If you've got to put your kid in an armored car to go to school and then worry about them getting kidnapped, right? What's your wealth worth? What wealth do you got? Right?
Not on our watch.
You know, like eventually there's a lot more of regular people than there is of the wealthy, right? And, you know, also, you know, there is one hand washes the other. I mean, you can also say the wealthy pay all the taxes in this country and everybody lives a better life because of the taxes that the wealthy pay. That's just a fact, right? So now I know plenty of wealthy people that are ethical, moral people. They're creators. They've created value. They're brilliant people and they've made lives better. A person who made an iPhone, you could sit there on the toilet and freaking pay your life insurance, and you know, I mean, look how productive we are today, right? These are people like that we don't want to tar everybody with the same brush here. But again, getting back to the mission at hand, this opportunity that we have here is to make an incredible statement that the world's upside down, right? No, these people that we've selected to be in black robes, okay, to have control over people's lives. These are not people who deserve that level of power. They've been poisoned. No. Their soul has been poisoned. They're drug addicts. Not all of them, but too many of them. Too many of them. And then on the other side, you know, oh, these castaways, these gang members, these criminals, these people that look this way, look that way. No, man, the world is wacky enough where things are upside down. So I think exposure and getting in the spotlight is really the only answer. Does that make sense to you, Tiff?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, on that note, we also wanted to talk about, and for people that are joining us late here, is that one of our campaigns that we're launching tonight, and these fine people that are joining us are invited to be our very, very first candidates, participants, whatever you want to call it. We're doing this Advocate All-Stars campaign. If you are an advocate for this space, if you're in this 10 days or 10 years, if you got a group of 10 people or 10,000 people, if you believe in everything we do or none of what we do, you're just completely on the other side. It doesn't matter. We want to hold you up. Okay. We want to hear your story. We want you to do a 5-minute video of saying, my name's Tiff. The reason why I'm here in this space is not getting completely in your case, obviously, right? That's not what it's about, your case. It's about you, right? This is what happened to me. And I know a lot of people would have just done this, but me, what made me do it is I saw this and I couldn't turn away, right? I see this when I close my eyes at night. I used to literally cry when I walked past this park on the way from my apartment to my office. And I would go there and I would see all these kids in the jungle, right? And then I'm seeing them with nannies, right? Or just one parent, right? And then when I was the worst of it, you know, I just kept looking at these kids and then seeing the terror come across their face, right? What do you mean you're taking my daddy out of my life? You know, what do you mean you're taking my mommy out of my life? Where is she? I haven't seen her for 2 days. I haven't seen her for a week. Where are they? You know what I mean? And that terror, you know, that torment coming over their face. And it consumed me, you know, it consumed me and it just brought me to tears. And I just, so that's, part of my story. I don't know what your story is, Tiff. I don't know what your story is, Darren. I don't know what your story is, Don, and I think that's a real story to tell. That's a real story to tell, because I think once we have that conversation, we're going to start to realize, we should not be in different silos. We should not be just completely doing that thing and you're doing your thing. And, I think a lot of people I've heard have said, yeah, Dave's got his thing, but I got my thing. Okay. What everyone here.
So
let's make a bigger thing.
Right. So is there a link to do this? Because
no, we want people to post it right to the Family Court for All Warrior page, right to the public ledger, right to the public ledger. Justin, why don't you talk about it?
The Advocate All-Star game, as far as those that are on the front line that want to sit there and be put in the Advocacy All-Star campaign and understand the value of selflessness and that are 10 toes deep in this fight, such as yourself, we want you can contact me in ways. We're asking for you to do a minute testimonial of your work. You can contact Justin at fraudwarrior.org. You can also reach me on my local platforms. You can reach me through the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project, our national collaborative. And you can also reach me through Canton Hall of Shame Messenger. You can reach me the Ohio Warrior Project Messenger. Several different platforms you can reach me at if you are interested in one of the Advocate All-Stars.
And I'd just like to also add, and you don't need to reach out to any of us. You could just do a 5-minute video. If it goes 7 or 10, it goes 7 or 10. The point is, we don't want it to be 45 minutes, right? Post it.
Then how do you account for me?
Yes.
Yeah, you Don, you can do whatever you want to do. If yours is 2 hours, yours is 2 hours.
Jesus Christ, I can't. That's been the problem all along, is the 3 to 5 minute window.
Yeah. Well, that's by design there too, man, because
no, I understand it all together. I just can't fit it into that. That's why I said, can't we just use my 10-minute one when I testify before the matrimonial commission?
Yeah. Well, listen, we're learning, right? The point is,
I know.
The trauma does to people is, and we've all been there, right? Is it makes you do the 18-page text message, right? Something inside you says, I'm forgetting something. I got to tell you about this, and I got to tell you about this. I got to tell you. And the answer is not quantity, right? It's not like, oh, wait. I wasn't going to do anything, Tiff, because you only told me about 5 criminal acts. But since you told me about 55, that's going to, no, it's not what works here. So we're forcing people's head around this. Just, the exit interview is going to be where we expand on everything. Just give us a summary. Who are you? What's driven you to do this, right? And at the end of the day, pretty much everybody has a couple of real core drivers, right? Look, my mother was taken from this world because of this, and it was because she was a Sicilian mama who loved her firstborn son and could not bear the pain and anguish of seeing me have my children robbed from me. She lived every inch of my pain, and she was too weak in COVID, right? And when I saw what these criminals did, and then you want to talk about inspiring me, I had to go to the hospital to actually pull the plug on her because she was on the respirator, and her estate planning was clear. It was, if 2 doctors say that she cannot live on these machines, and those respirators are painful, right? If you've seen anybody on them, they fill them up with air, and their chests are exploding all the time. And I had this, I'm a planner, right? I'm a risk manager, right? So I had these masks that stop like anything, a ricin attack. And that was a time period that they weren't letting people in the hospital. They were dying, okay, with no family around them. So I just simply said, there's no way my mother is passing, okay, alone. So I went to the hospital, and people were worried that, I was in a frantic state or whatever, but I was just convinced that they were going to let me in. I talked to some surgeon friends of mine. They advised me, don't be there longer than 20 minutes. I got to the hospital and they said, you're going to go up to the COVID ICU. And this is when we knew nothing, guys. This is when we knew nothing, right? And I said, yeah, okay, I am. And I was able to bring an iPad. I was able to bring an iPad, and everyone in the family was able to say goodbye, at least. And when I was walking out of there, my ex's attorney, and this is how they think, saw the opportunity to file an emergency motion to claim that I broke into the hospital to kill my mother. How the attorneys think. That was an opportunity. In that moment in time, and I want people to understand this, this is how deep this sickness fucking goes, okay? Is instead of seeing somebody, another human, in this moment of need, like, hey, let's just punt this. Okay, this is also around Christmas, right? So I was hauled, okay, into court on December 24th, and and I wasn't supposed to be, right, for this allegation. I broke into the hospital to, like, first of all, that's a B&E, right? First of all, if somebody did this, right, it'd be on national news. Second of all, he doesn't have a telephone, okay? He said the exact words in court. I don't know if they're looking for him right now. He's on the run. I'm on the run. I'm in my office every single day. All right. I'm a fiduciary. All right, I have to have it public. Okay. Everybody knows the level of bullshit. But the point is, who thinks that way? How deranged do you have to be to think that way, to see a man, whether this is your competitor, all right, he knew I'm innocent. He knew I wasn't a bad guy. He knew he concocted all 5 of those arrests. It all came from I thought it was my ex. It all came from the attorney, right? All came. He taught her line and verse, right? She literally just showed up to sign. And then they sit there and say, oh, if you don't do this, you're not going to win. You're going to get so I'm not, no one held a gun to her head. I'm not giving her too much credit, but the reality is that this came from the attorney. And so people need to know that, and that is part of my 3 to 5 minute story. I didn't need to tell every in and out. I just had to say, this is what happened to me at that moment in time. This is what they robbed from me. They robbed my mom's life, and they robbed that moment for my family. And as I said, I don't care what it takes. I'm taking this. And I'm proud to say that attorney is no longer in business anymore. He's no longer in business. He's no longer a threat to other people.
Make sure you should still have my phone number and my email. Send me Justin's information. I gotta go put the baby to bed. He's down
we
here.
hear that.
He's like, ah. So thank you all for coming on tonight. And I will talk to everybody soon. You hear, he's got to go to bed. He's got to go to bed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tiff. Thank you. Thank you. But Don,
yes,
do you think you could slap together inside 10 minutes a video on why it is that you've been called to do what you do? So
I talked to Justin in detail on this the other day. I think where I'm going to focus, Dave, just so you know, is in unifying everybody, because I have been doing this for so long. And that has been our largest obstacle to date. And I know we're making fun of it with the advocate Olympic and stuff, when we say that, but it's really not funny. Because we are all trying to save children, I would hope. Anyways, and it's like, as long as you keep that in your blinders and your focus, I don't see why we can't get along. It's obnoxious with everybody fighting.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally perspective, right? And the trauma sits there and tells you, oh my God, Don has got all these people listening to him and I don't. That means I suck at what I do. Now, it's like, no. Some
of us don't even like doing it.
Yeah, the same.
We're doing it because we got to.
Right? Same scenario. You could be looking, be like, hey, if Don's got there, that means I can get there next too, right? It's like, what can I learn from Don? Okay, what's happening? Okay, so again, we're trying to also help people heal from the complex PTSD and understand what it is, and understand when your brain is really making a decision and when the trauma is making the decision. And so there's an educational aspect to this too. But I really, really believe that there's some people out there that we're going to approach, and they're going to be like, hey, Dave Weigel's group, the family court. Yeah, I don't like that guy. Well, really, he wants to hold you up and highlight. Oh, okay. Like all of a sudden, the attitude will change a little bit, because again, you put the olive branch out there and you offer to do the right thing. And you know what? If I stick my neck out and I'm made a fool of, okay, so be it. All right. At least.
Well, imagine what Fathers for Justice went through when they started this, when they came to America over 20 years ago. They were radicals. All they did was throw some purple flour on Tiger Woods, for Christ's sakes. They're radicals. They're extremists. It's like, no, they're not. They're loving fathers trying to educate you people.
Yeah. And there is one thing I can't stand is turning on the TV. Every father is a buffoon on TV. Why is every father a buffoon on TV? And you don't think they're teaching people that? All right. This is the most visible thing that people see. So anyway, I still think I think this advocacy All Stars is going to be a fantastic campaign. I'm really looking forward to each one of you guys, to kick it off. All right. We also have Jonathan Como already sent me a video, which is phenomenal, and he's a really smart guy. And it just shocked me. It just told me we're on this right path here, because here's a guy who's been part of our group for a number of months here. I had no idea. What he does and how he does it. And other people should know, right? Because
is that posted already, Dave?
No. I'm holding him back. I wanted to announce it tonight. All right. And then, we're going to, everyone who gets in their video here, we're going to just immediately start putting all this stuff too. Just follow the same campaign. If you're a victim, 3 to 5 minute video. If you're an advocate, 3 to 5 minute video. And if it goes 7 or 10, it goes 7 or 10. Try not to make it over 10 minutes, because generally that's when it gets a little bit difficult to follow for people's.
Well, you lose people's attention too.
You lose people's attention, and you really can say it. You really can bottom line it there. And I'm looking forward to hearing the real roots of this. And I think when we start having that conversation, we're gonna see that we really are much more on the same team than what people thought beforehand. I think we're gonna find that.
I think we can promote that too. I think that's something that can become contagious.
It could become contagious, and I hope the selflessness becomes contagious. That's my biggest dream here. Is that this movement about being selfless, because you talk about something they can't touch. They can't touch like all of us being selfless. One is just stepping in front of the other, where no, I don't want anything in return. They can't touch that. That's their kryptonite. That is their kryptonite. When I went up to Ulster County and to support this woman that we didn't even know her name 6 weeks before, right? And I sat in court there and listened to this judge put the power play on her. First she made everyone who was there, and there was only maybe 7 or 8 of us, right, to actually support this woman. Made all of us announce what our name was and why we were there, because it's my fucking American right. That's why I'm there, right? But dude, that was a power play. So I was the only one that stood up and said, "I'm Dave Weigel. I'm from the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project." And when she started going into, it's been reported that there's been leaking to social media. No, not reporting to the press, leaking to social media. There will be no sharing of information about this case, any way, shape, or form. I couldn't handle it. I didn't plan it. I stood up. I was like, "Lady, you think you're in Russia? You think you're in China right now? Like, are you out of your mind?" I was like, I stood there pointing in her face. You would think that's great. I was signing up. I was signing up for jail. But you know what? It was a selfless act, okay? I didn't have any reason to believe that this was going to come back to me personally. It just what needed to be done. It was just what needed to be done. And if people take that attitude, I just think that this is going to be like really harnessing the power of the sun. This is going to be harnessing the power of the sun. So I hope that this, I'm going to spend probably the rest of my life really trying to make this happen, because we need it, man. We need it. I mean, you look at the
this world to have good people.
Well, me and Justin came up for a name for them, If they don't want to get on board and save children, then them succubuses can just move down the road and stay out of our way.
Well, listen, I mean, they're going to see what power and what we're achieving over here. And the bottom line is that the cream's going to rise and the crap's going to fall. And if
Yep.
you're in this space and really harnessing selfishness, you're going to be exposed. You're going to be exposed. Okay. So there's nothing to say that you can't. There's plenty of people that charge fees. Okay. I work with a parental alienation coach. I pay him to do that. Nothing says, okay, because you need to earn a living and feed yourself, right? I mean, you're perfectly capable of doing that, but still it's not very difficult to look at somebody and look at a task and say, is that selfish or selfless, right? It's pretty easy to boil everything down to that. It's not very difficult, right?
Man. Yeah, that's it.
So-
That's good people in the world, man. That's it.
So, all right. So now I only got another 3 hours of work ahead of me here, guys.
Yeah, I'll race with it. Yeah. So that's that, huh? That's it.
Well, you got a staff, you can delegate some of it.
Yeah, no, this is my leftover.
Oh, your real life stuff.
Amen.
Yeah, my day job that still requires a lot of time and things to do and things.
Well,
to
I'm
do.
starting to wonder what's a hobby and what's a job with you at this point.
Well, it certainly ain't sleeping. It certainly ain't sleeping.
Well, you're a part of that club now, Dave.
Please.
Yeah, we'll sleep when we're dead. We'll sleep
Yeah,
when
I'd like to know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're on to something big, guys, here. I'm really excited. Okay. I think we're going to have a lot more conversations. I look forward. Please, anybody knows any biker clubs, okay, I'm just looking for a sit down, looking for a conversation. Reach out to me through IM. Our email addresses are all over the place on the website, www.familycourtfraudwarrior.com. I'm Dave at fraudwarrior.org. We're going to be putting it all over the Facebook site. We got stuff going out to every single social out there. We're going to want to make sure that it's easy. Get in touch with any of the moderators, any of the admins. Everybody knows how to get in touch with me here. We want to just continue having this conversation because I think that this is synergistic and this is something that is in the country's best interest. It's certainly in the kids' best interest. It's certainly in the victim's best interest. And I really think it's in everybody's best interest, and I think it could do huge things. I think
it's critical to society's growth, proper growth as well.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
I mean, at the end of the day, what does a parent do? Give your kid a better life to live. Give your kid a better world to live, right? Money's only one thing, right? Okay, good education's only, something, right? We probably, want to stay away from giving our kids it's already terrible. We're going to be giving them about 50 trillion in debt. Okay. Maybe we could do a little bit better than giving them a dystopian society too.
Yeah.
Get better if we can keep them out of family courts.
Yeah.
And away from all their bad actors.
I got a feeling that family court, we're going to break family court. Okay, there's too many people that are on this train, and there's too much momentum that we're gaining. There's no way the family court is going to be able to exist in the state it's in today. In a number, I don't know the time period. I don't know. All right, I don't know if it's a year or two. I don't know if it's 5, but we need to keep winning, and we need to not be afraid to announce our wins. Right. Okay. People need something to hold on to. They need some sort of a light at the end of the tunnel. They're not seeing any results in this court. It's just failure after failure after failure. Okay. Any kind of, and I hope this all-star campaign, advocate campaign, is going to bring out more stories about people's successes, small little.
Let's bring out more advocates, right?
Successes, big successes, right? Darren, I want to hear how well you do with this app. This app is a fantastic idea. I know there's some other ones out there. They're getting better and better.
Dave, I'm going to tell you this. That
I don't even know what it does. Why don't you tell us what it does?
They've said that it's been said that there's going to be no longer a need for anybody to have Westlaw, any of that stuff. This replaces it and makes Westlaw and Superior. All of those things out there, they combine all of these things. This thing is a massive machine, and it will be up tonight. My daughter has been working on it vigorously. It'll be at the cpspunisher.com. is where you'll be able to go and get it, and it'll be up there within the next hour or so. So everybody should go there, and I'll send you a complimentary copy, a complimentary version of it, Dave. So you'll always have it.
Oh, okay. Thank
So
you. Thank you. Hey, who said I don't get any perks around here?
that's right, man. That's right. But all right, guys. Well, thank you guys very much. And I'm gonna end this one with this one right here, guys. So you guys have a good night. Thanks for
Thanks
coming on.
everybody for listening. Thank you everybody who's
You're cool, sir.
tuning in.
Thanks for having us, buddy.
Where significant personal and legal interests are at stake, CPS Breaking News has reviewed the background and advocacy work of Dave Weigel. Recent allegations characterizing him as fraudulent or misogynistic lack substantive basis and distract from substantive issues within the family court system. The system often prioritizes extended litigation over the protection of parental rights and child welfare. Darren Gay, known for his work examining Child Protective Services practices, has conducted an investigation into Mr. Weigel's professional history, legal proceedings, and reform efforts. The investigation confirms that Mr. Weigel is a credible advocate whose work addresses documented systemic deficiencies in family court proceedings.
Family courts in the United States address critical matters including divorce, custody determinations, and child welfare assessments. However, reform advocates argue that the system has developed structural incentives that extend proceedings and increase associated costs, often to the detriment of families involved. Federal funding mechanisms, such as Title 4D of the Social Security Act, allocate substantial resources to states based on child support enforcement metrics. While intended to improve outcomes, these funding structures can inadvertently create incentives for prolonged proceedings, resulting in extended conflict for children and substantial financial burden for parents.
Mr. Weigel's personal experience illustrates these systemic issues. A Columbia Business School graduate with a 3-decade career managing substantial fixed-income portfolios, he entered family court proceedings in 2014 seeking an equitable divorce arrangement and custody agreement. His case proceeded through New York County's Integrated Domestic Violence Court for approximately 10 years, extending well beyond what would typically be necessary. This experience is not unique. Similar patterns appear across numerous cases involving procedural delays and inconsistent judicial interpretation that separate parents from their children.
An examination of public court records and verified filings demonstrates that Mr. Weigel's advocacy is grounded in documented personal experience rather than ulterior motive. His professional background reflects a career built on precision and accountability, with no record of regulatory violations or client complaints. Claims of financial fraud lack credible basis, as there are no Securities and Exchange Commission investigations or litigation initiated by former clients. His current work applies rigorous analytical methods to identify inefficiencies within the family court system that a legal battle marked by systemic resistance, not personal malfeasance. In his divorce from financial advisor Georgina Dimison, both parties sought resolution. Key documents show 2 joint stipulations, October 2023 and March 2024, agreeing to an uncontested divorce in Connecticut, full co-parenting, and no restrictions on access to their children, a 15-year-old daughter and 13-year-old son. Ms. Dimison herself terminated her attorney, Daniel Nates, citing over 100 documented misrepresentations in filings, violating New York rules of professional conduct, including Rules 3.3 on candor to tribunals and 8.3 on misconduct.
She affirmed on record, Dave is not harmful.
Yet, Judge Tandra L. Dawson rejected both agreements as defective, citing unspecified economic detriment to Ms. Dimison, despite her explicit support. This led to ongoing supervised visitation at $6,000 per month, totaling over $1 million in combined legal fees. A brief detention in Rikers Island stemmed from an unsubstantiated Connecticut warrant, later dismissed with no charges, and a default judgment was issued by referee Sue and Hoeing after Mr. Weigel missed a hearing due to a family funeral in Miami, with email documentation overlooked. These are not signs of aggression but of a system resistant to resolution, often disproportionately impacting fathers in custody disputes, where data shows maternal custody awarded in 80% of cases.
The Family Court Fraud Warrior Project, Innovation for the Greater Good, born from his experiences, Mr. Weigel's 2023 to 2024 initiative, FamilyCourtFraudWarrior.com, deploys open-source AI to analyze public court dockets, identifying patterns like biased rulings and fee escalations linked to federal incentives. It's not a profit-driven scheme. There's no subscription model, no merchandise, just free tools empowering parents to share their stories via hashtag #MyFreeMinutes. Collaborators include respected journalists like Frank Parlato, Nexium cult investigator, and Richard Luthman, independent reporter, forming a network dedicated to reform, not revenue.gbfh. Claims of misogyny, unfounded and antithetical to his mission. Mr. Weigel's critiques target institutional biases, not individuals, advocating for equitable access for all parents, regardless of gender. His ex-wife's alignment in the stipulations underscores this. He's fighting a flawed process, not women. Addressing the smears, misinformation as a weapon, and why we're calling it out. Online detractors often amplify unverified rumors to discredit reformers, a tactic we've seen in CPS cases where whistleblowers are painted as unstable to silence them. In the advocacy space, we've navigated similar challenges, including instances where proposed reforms, like mandating jury trials and custody disputes, were co-opted without credit. Time has clarified these dynamics, allowing genuine allies like Dave and me to refocus on shared goals. Our alliance rejects division, it amplifies unity. As founder of CPS Breaking News, a platform exposing CPS overreach through investigative reporting, podcasts like That's Our Daughter, chronicling my own wrongful termination of parental rights, and the Tiff and Punisher Show, I see Mr. Weigel's work as a natural extension of our mission. CPS and family courts often intersect, with parental alienation claims weaponized to justify interventions. We're partnering fully.
This isn't rhetoric, it's a roadmap to reclaim lives.
A call to action. Join us in building a just system.
Dave Weigel's journey from Wall Street to whistleblower demonstrates resilience and insight, qualities that make him an indispensable voice. To the skeptics, engage with the evidence. To supporters, amplify it. Visit cpsbreakingnews.com for full resources. In this fight, knowledge is power, and unity is victory. FamilyCourtFraudWarrior.com.
This corruption is going to stop. It's pushing good people over the top. It's causing pain they don't deserve. These fucking judges, what a nerve. I can smell the smoke in the air. People losing their lives every day. We can't stand for this bullshit game. It's time to light this shit on fire. Let's burn the bitch down. They take our lives. Let's burn the bitch down. It should be no surprise. Let's burn the bitch down. They deserve what they get. Let's burn the bitch down. There is no regret. They're taking kids, ruining their future, making dads run scared through the fire. The court's destroying families, they're such a liar. When the days turn into the nights, they give up, they have no fight. When you break the man, you take his soul. When you take his child, consider yourself told. Let's burn the bitch down. They cause our pain. Let's burn Let's burn the bitch down. Let's burn the bitch down. Let's burn the bitch
We know it's all about the money. We know they lie. We know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?
I'm, just your average parent trying to do right by my kids. Never thought I'd have to, deal with something like this. It was a regular Tuesday afternoon. The kids' toys were scattered everywhere. Then there was a knock at the door. My heart sank when I saw who it was.
Hello, I'm from Child Protective Services. We've received a report and need to inspect your home.
I didn't know what to do. They wanted to come in, look around, talk to my kids. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was doing something wrong even though I knew I wasn't. But then, I remembered something I'd read online about knowing your rights. I took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry, but unless you have a warrant, I can't let you in." The CPS worker looked surprised. They weren't used to parents knowing their rights. It wasn't easy, but I stood my ground. I protected my family's privacy that day. Remember, when CPS knocks, know your rights. It can make all the difference.